Hi, guys. So, I've been stuck at home watching just a ton of those video things on YouTube where like girls put on a bunch of makeup and then they tell stories. And there's this one I love. It's called Murder Mysteries. And she puts on makeup and then she tells you stories about murders. And I was like, dang, I kind of want to make those videos too. But then I thought, well, I don't really know any stories of true crime and I don't know any funny jokes. And yeah, I've had a couple interesting things happen in my life, but I couldn't really hold those stories for long. So, you know what I'm going to do? Video makeup tutorials because I know you all want to learn how I get all this looking like all this. Well, all that when I'm done with my makeup because right now it's just not much. But while I tell you about the books that I've read, great idea. So, it's me, my Kindle, and my vat of makeup. So, a book I recently read is called The Vanishing Half. And it was amazing. It's written by Brit Bennett. And Brit Bennett is a new author. This was her first book, which makes it super amazing because usually you don't expect an author's first book to be as good as this one was. It takes them a little time to work into their craft. Oh, but heavens, no, not this one. It was amazing from the first page. It's the story of the small town in southern Louisiana, somewhere around outside of New Orleans, or as folks around where I live in the Midwest call it New Orleans, New Orleans, New Orleans. And in this town, it's a town for it's been around since Reconstruction after the Civil War, and it's where really super light-skinned African American folks live, and they're people who are kind of obsessed with their light shade, and only light-skinned Black folks live there. And so this couple has twins, two daughters, and they're beautiful girls, sweet girls, and one of them is Stella, and one of them is Desiree. And Stella and Desiree are nice girls, and they grew up in this little town of Mallard. And Stella and Desiree are best friends, of course. They're twins. They sleep in the same bed, and they're not rich. This town isn't a rich town, but they're comfortable. They're comfortable in their lives and in their town with their mama. But when they're young, there's a terrible tragedy that happens. So even though these folks are super, super light-skinned, which shouldn't matter, of course, but it does matter in this book and in the world in general, unfortunately. Even though that's the case, there are still a ton of racism in this book and in the world. And what happens is their daddy gets something happens and it's not even true. He gets accused of something by white people in a nearby town, and he gets dragged out of his house, and in front of his family, oh, it's so heartbreaking. It actually is bringing tears to my eyes. In front of his family, he gets beaten to death, actually, or near death. He gets taken to the hospital, and when he doesn't die in the hospital, the jackasses who beat him actually go to the hospital and finish off the job there. Again, he didn't even do anything. They just got it in their head somehow that he was too uppity or whatever and decide that he's got to go. So now this mother has to raise these two twins on her own. Now, again, the twins are nice girls. They're, good kids and work hard and nice to each other. Stella is super studious and loves school, and Desiree is a little bit wilder and maybe not as interested in school, more interested in life than in school. But they're making their way in their town. Well, what happens is, at some point after the dad's dead, they don't have enough money. Stella's thinking she is really good at math. She's thinking she wants to go to one of the prominent colleges for African Americans around town and works really hard in her classes. But they stop having enough money to live, and so the mother has to tell them, you have to quit school and come and work in one of the white ladies' houses in a neighboring town doing their laundry so that we have enough money to make the rent, pay the mortgage, the whole nine, have enough money to eat and live. So that's what they do. Desiree's fine with that. She didn't really have a whole lot of use for college. Stella, on the other hand, is devastated. Well, as time goes by, Desiree starts to kind of flirt with this young man who is working as a farmhand at a neighboring house to the house where where they're cleaning up, doing the laundry for the white lady. But her mama doesn't like that boy because he's dark-skinned, and her mama wants Desiree to be with a light-skinned boy. So, there's a little bit of racism even within their own family. Well, finally, Stella has had it, and Desiree has had it, and doesn't want to live in that small town anymore. She wants to escape, and she can't do it without her sister. So she escapes. She convinces her sister to run away and leave Mallard and start a new life together in New Orleans. And both girls do. They leave their mama all alone, and they run off to New Orleans to start a new life together. And they have all kinds of adventures in New Orleans. Well, as time goes on in New Orleans, remember, these girls are super, super light-skinned. And in fact, they're so light-skinned that they can do what's called passing. And so what happens as time goes on is that Stella starts to experience what it's like to pass, so she can make more money, because you can make more money if you are white than you can if you are African American, even though you're exactly the same person. I mean, she's Stella either way, whether she says she's white or whether she says she's black, she's the same person. So obviously, again, it just goes to show how stupid the whole system is. The racist system is just absolutely based on nothing but stupidity and economic nonsense. However, she learns that she can pass. Now that's where I'm going to stop, because you have to read the book to find out what happens. But I'm going to tell you, it is a wild ride. The two sisters end up going radically different ways and coming to radically different ways of being, living, doing, thinking. They both have kids, and they come back together in a stunning conclusion at the end of the book. I cannot recommend it highly enough. Vanishing Half is one of the best books I've read of this year. I hope you will read it too. I think it's good for readers of all kinds. If you like books, you will probably like The Vanishing Half. Ooh, aren't I a pretty, pretty girl? Ooh. Happy reading.